And on one hand, my mom would tell me, this is your imagination. You have
Yeah.
to stop this, because I had tons of imaginary friends. She'd come in the room and I'd be talking to everybody. And she'd say, "Who are you talking to?" Well, I had little bunnies, rabbits, angels. They all would come in the room and give me messages and talking to me. And so she would tell me to stop it. They're going to put me in a psychiatric ward.
Right.
My grandma, on the other hand, would tell me, "No, this is who you are, and know it, trust it and appreciate it."
Welcome to the Expert Authority Coach podcast, the one-stop spot for entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and business owners just like you who are ready to rise, shine, and finally be seen as the go-to authority in their field. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale, also known as the Expert Authority Coach, and my mission is to help you build a magnetic brand, grow your visibility, and turn your expertise into real, lasting influence and income. If you want to dive deeper, head on over to my website, expertauthoritycoach.com, where you can explore all the groovy stuff that I've created for you. And you can even book a free discovery call with me. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, head on over to expertauthoritycoach.com to book that free call today. And if you're enjoying the show, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to step into their expert authority as well. You can share the love, and only good karma will come back to you. I promise. Alrighty, so let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to the Expert Authority Coach podcast. I am the Expert Authority Coach, Christine Blosdale, and I am so excited. I am so blessed to have amazing people in my life. And this woman has been a very important person in my life for many years. And she's just reminded me before we hit record how long ago it was. But Barbara Savin is my guest today. And in addition to being a magnificent master energy healer, she's also a clinical hypnotherapist,
Hmm.
spiritual life coach, Reiki master teacher, and inspirational speaker. And she is also the host of the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast, which I know a lot about. And she gets to share her wisdom, tools, and transformative stories to help listeners step into their best lives. And she's just an absolute angel. Barbara Savin, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. I love you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
I just,
Thank you.
I can count the people on my hands that I really truly, and it doesn't matter how much time goes by. We can have months and months go by, and then when I see you or when I talk to you, I light up like a Christmas tree because I'm so excited to be with you. Thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your journey, with the listeners too, about how you have navigated. I know that at a really young age, you already knew you had these gifts, and maybe at that time you didn't think they were the greatest gifts to have. But but let's talk about those things. Being a healer is something that some people are called into, some people are dragged into it. Which one were you?
Probably a little bit of both. I was born and raised in Coney Island in Brooklyn, grew up in the Marlboro Projects, so you need to be a little tough. My grandma was a healer,
Mhm.
and I had two healers actually. My grandma was a healer, and my other grandma was always teaching us about volunteering. And the healer, when we come home, she would sit us down and she would sage us, clear our energy, and with a lot of things she used to do. And my sister and I thought she had magical powers. But the thing is that as a child, I was able to see things, feel, hear, sense, smell. So I had those abilities. And on one hand, my mom would tell me, this is your imagination. You have to
Yeah.
stop this, because I had tons of imaginary friends. She'd come in the room and I'd be talking to everybody. And she'd say, "Who are you talking to?" Well, I had little bunnies, rabbits, angels. They all would come in the room and give me messages and talking to me. And so she would tell me to stop it. They're going to put me in a psychiatric ward.
Right.
My grandma, on the other hand, would tell me, "No, this is who you are, and know it, trust it and appreciate it." So both ends were very hard because, my mom, was against it. My grandma was, and the other grandma took me out to do volunteer work. So it was tough growing up. And the thing is that when I would go to school, I knew if somebody was going to get hurt doing something. And so I was bullied a lot. So say if somebody in the schoolyard was going to do something and I would go over there and say, you shouldn't do that because you may get hurt. And they would, of course, do it anyway. They would get hurt and then they come and beat the hell out of me because they
Oh,
thought it was my fault that they got hurt.
which.
Exactly. So I was bullied a lot and called a lot of names. And when my grandma died when I was 18, I made the choice to stop all this. And I told my spirit guides and angels, stop talking to me. I don't want to hear it anymore. I told, all the little visitors that I had, get away, leave me alone. And I figured if I did that, everybody would go and I would be normal,
Right.
at the age of 18. But unfortunately, it just caused more problems. And of course, the story. My grandma died right before my high school graduation, and then I actually in a dream saw her die 2 weeks prior to that. And so when she passed away, I thought it was my fault because of my abilities that I had,
Right.
that I killed my grandma. And so, telling God, I hate you for what you did, being angry at her because she died before my high school graduation, telling all the spirits and everybody, you need to leave me alone. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Then over a period of time, what happened was they did leave me alone. Okay. And my anger with God grew more and more as I got older. And then I started breaking down physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Started getting, arthritis. I had very raging migraines. Then I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, in which the doctor told me, you're going to be crippled just like your mom. And that's when all of a sudden the light bulb went on in my head that no, he's telling me words that I don't want to keep. And a lot of my grandma's words started coming back to me. And that's when I got back into the energy healing. I finally forgave God because I knew he didn't take her. It was her time to leave. I forgave her for dying because her soul at the age of 62 was done. She needed to go.
Yeah.
And I forgave myself for hating God, hating her, and being so angry at myself. So I needed to love me again. I needed to respect me again and to finally get back onto my path, which I did at the age of 40. So I suffered,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
because I didn't go on that true path for many, many years. But then looking back, I say, wow, I was supposed to have all that suffering and that mirror work to show me what it was that I needed to finally shed and finally be who I was truly meant to be. And I've been that way since for 37 years. Let's put it that way.
And you've been working with people from, with clients too from all around the world on a lot of that, what they're going through as well. Correct? You,
Well, yeah, it's that wounded child. I was so wounded, and from being wounded and not trusting my who I really was and listening to my mom, there was so much, disconnect there that I didn't know who was I, who and then being bullied so much because I was able to feel and sense things that didn't help. And then of course being raised in the projects, you needed to be tough in order to survive. So things were not easy, but I look back and I say, wow, that journey was meant to be not easy because that journey brought me to where I am today.
yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
And then our paths crossed at
Oh,
some point.
yes. Yes, they did at the Four Seasons Hotel. Well,
Yeah.
fast forward, we finally left Brooklyn 21 years ago. And then I had gotten a job at the California Health and Longevity Institute in the Four Seasons Hotel. And I was there maybe, I would say maybe a year or two. Now, this is a long time ago. I'd say when I really think about it, it's about 16 years ago.
Wow.
You called
Hmm.
wanting to interview me.
Mhm.
And I remember Julie at the front desk, she says, "Oh, Christine's here, to interview you." And here you come with your computer and a little microphone. You, you sat, he sat in my office, and we just chatted. And then I said to myself, God, I love this gal. She's just like, she's so sweet, so sincere and honest and helpful. And I mean, words cannot describe that feeling that I felt for you that time. And
Same.
then our relationship grew from there. You had me on your show. What
On
was that?
I had you on the radio show.
Yeah,
I
the
had you
radio
on,
show. Yeah,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
radio show. And then I reached out many a time. Then I finally reached out to you because I, I, in my heart, I kept on feeling, even though I had accomplished a lot in my life, I felt I still wasn't good enough. And I was still, that confidence still wasn't there.
Mm,
And I reached out to you, and then you helped me. Boy, boy, did you help me tremendously, getting me out, getting that confidence out, building me up to say, you are enough, you're worthy, you're good, you can do this, you can do
yes.
this. And you taught me how to do podcasting and so many other things that we've done together. And I truly appreciate it because when I look back, you were one of those really pivoting moments for me. That person that really stepped in and said, "Come on, I got you. I got to just get this out of you." And you didn't give up on me. And you said, "No, come on, you could do it."
No, because I can see the
Mhm.
obvious. I was like, and here's the thing too, is that I was thinking, here's this woman that has such great skill and is so amazing in her heart and her passion to want to help people and with the healing and with hypnotherapy. I mean, that like blows me away. But all of that, I was like, but she's just holed up in this little space, and only people who run across her would know. And what she has, more people need to know about. And what I think about podcasting, I think podcasts are amazing because it's like a megaphone and you can reach people all around the world. And some you'll never hear from, but you could be touching their lives. You could be making an impact on them, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so I was determined to make sure that we got you through showing you how to create your podcast, putting it all together. And now your Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast has, how many episodes have you done already?
110. You were the
110.
first one. I
Yeah.
remember starting it and I said, okay, I was shaking. I was so afraid still. I said, all right, Christine has to be the first one. She has to be the first one. And then we did it together. And
Yeah.
it was like, I said, okay,
That
I,
wasn't so
I could,
bad.
I could do this. I could do it.
And now we've
You,
got
yeah,
110 episodes, and you've
yeah,
interviewed
110
some
episodes.
amazing people in that time, haven't you?
Yes, a lot of incredible, other healers and hypnotherapists and people that do past life therapy. And of course, I had Pat Benatar on. I wish I would have known now what I when I had her on. Would have done it a little differently, but it was okay. She came on, and we had a blast, her and I. And the beauty of it is that you gave me that, I want to say, like that inner strength, that inner clarity,
Mm.
but also you brought out my authentic self, which
Oh,
was so important to me because I wasn't hiding, but I somewhat was hiding a little bit, especially working at the Four Seasons Hotel, because I was comfortable, and and every time I got too comfortable, you came in and pushed me a little bit. I noticed. And that's why I joined the mastermind group many years ago. That's why I did all
yes.
that. Because I said, all
Yeah.
right, this gal, I need that push. I need somebody to throw me off the mountain, you could say.
Well, stretching is uncomfortable sometimes. And, you
Yeah.
know, for people who face imposter syndrome, that is a lot of times it's overachievers. It's people who have amazing degrees and expertise up the wazoo, but when they're asked to stretch into something that's a little uncomfortable, to do something that they're not 100% familiar with, then they feel uneasy, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
comfort doing the same thing is we know what to expect. So there's no stress in that, right? Well, there is stress, but it's a different kind of stress. So
Oh,
I know
without
that
a doubt.
you stepping into that. And I think I remember when Barbara, when she came to me and she was like, okay, I've always dreamed of having a podcast and I want you to show me how to do it. And so
Hmm.
we did it. But before that, you had said too, you had said now technology wise, I'm not really, now remember how old I am and remember, I'm not the, uh, and you know what? And
Uh-huh.
you, through the training, through the work that we did together, you were so good. I have people that are much younger than you, darling, and they're not that quick. So you caught on right away, and now you're able to reach people like all over the world. And I just am so happy for that
Oh,
because
I
again, that was
appreciate it.
something that you knew, that was something that you really wanted to do, but you were a little afraid of. And I just held
Yeah.
your hand through it. That's it.
Oh, boy, did you ever. And I think, people come into our lives, to make us feel uncomfortable, but also to make us realize what it is we need to do to really rise above, how that feeling of uncomfortable is. And you helped me like big time. I mean, because, again, in the back of my mind, I even though I did all these celebrities, when right, the celebrities of Fortune 500 companies and everything, I still had that. Am I really good enough? Can I really do this? And you brought that out, and I'm so grateful for you for that. God put you in my path for a reason. Believe me. No,
Same, same.
oh,
Well,
you're
you
one of the
know,
greatest coaches ever.
oh, thank you,
Ever.
darling.
And I'm not just saying that. It's the truth because you explain, you're very kind, you're considerate, you're very patient, understanding, and you make it, not only do you make it fun, but you explain it in a way that you can understand. And so
Well,
that's so important.
and I think what it is also that sometimes we need someone from not because we have blinders on a lot of times as business people, as people who are doing their craft, and we don't see the whole picture.
Mhm.
We see our faults and we see our shortcomings and we see all of those things and we think other people see all of that. But when you have a third person or somebody who can take a look, like I mean, I looked at the breadth of work that you've done and I was like, oh my God, like you've got so many things here that people really need and that can change their lives. And I mean, that's a huge gift to have. And they said the only thing is we need to let people know that you exist, right? We need to let people know that you're here. And so that's why I love working with you. I love including you on the stack giveaways, and Barbara is also in my mastermind now, so we get to share opportunities that are there because I think that more and more people really do need to know about you and to be in your space even for a little bit. It changes their lives. It really does.
A lot of
So,
people tell me, yeah, that
yeah.
I've changed. I've helped them understand and help them get over that, wounded child and, with stress or anxieties or whatever it may be. Because that's what healing's like, a roller coaster. There are good days and then there's not so good days. So, and healing, we're all healing and on all different levels. And I needed to heal because again, that little child was always bullied, and
Yeah.
put down for my abilities. And then when you stepped in, I said, okay, this is different. I can do that.
She's not bullying
I
me.
trusted. She's making it difficult for me a little bit, but that's okay.
No, I know. I
Mhm.
completely understand. And it is those childhood moments, those wounds or those snapshots that impact us so much. And, for myself, I was, when I was very young, I was actually very shy, just terrified of people. And I didn't have a lot of trust in the world. I didn't have a lot of trust in people and the world in general. And part of that was too, is that when I was a little kid, remember on the playground, do you remember the seesaws?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So a seesaw, for
Uh-huh.
those that were like, people who are, younger than us, seesaw is it's this long plank. And this was just a real basic one. It was a long wooden plank, sort of like on a triangle. and
Mm-hmm.
one kid would be on one end and the other, and I would be on the other end. And the idea is that you're working together, right? You're pushing off from the ground, and when you push off from the ground, the person goes down to the bottom, and then you go back up, and it's like this back and forth, right? It's up and down, up and down, up and down. And as long as all parties are doing what they're supposed to do,
Yes.
it's a fun experience. It's
Fun.
wee, right? And then you come back down and okay. So as a kid, I was on the seesaw with somebody and I was up in the air really high and their bottom was down on the ground and they decided to get off of the
To jump off. Hmm.
yeah, the seesaw, the teeter-totter seesaw, whatever they call it. So
That's painful.
yes. And what happened is I came down really hard. I hit, and that's I think that's the sacral chakra or the,
Oh,
I mean,
the root chakra.
the
The root
root
sacral.
chakra, which is your roots, right?
Yes.
So that hit and it hurt so bad. And I just remember them like laughing, thinking it was funny. And it shook me to my core, seriously. And I really had a hard time. Now, that was when I was 5, maybe.
Hmm.
And here I am, 61. And even though now I've gone and processed that and I understand that and that little kid did not mean to really be cruel to me, but I understand that that's why I had a hard time trusting people for a long time, right?
There's no doubt. Hmm.
Because I had
Yeah.
given yeah, and I was having fun. That was the thing too. I was having fun. I
Mhm.
was enjoying myself and to have that moment. And so that takes a bit of work, but to realize that. So I think what you're doing when you're working with people and you're dealing with those childhood wounds and those things that maybe other people would say, "Oh, that's nothing." It does mean something, doesn't it?
It does because I know me being bullied so much and pushed around and made fun of and you know punched and beaten. I was afraid, I would be like this when I was out in a crowd of thinking somebody was going to hit me. When
Wow.
at one point my mother said to me, if you come home one more time with your clothes ripped or bruises, I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you. And she was
Oh,
a little 5'2"
oh,
redhead. And
you.
let me, yeah,
She was going to beat you.
she was going to beat me if I
Oh,
didn't stand up for myself.
oh my
And
gosh.
she was, and I said to myself, oh, here's a choice now. Do I have them beat me up or her? I rather have them beat, I said, okay, I got
Yeah.
to change something. And so that's when I made the choice that, I was going to fight back and not, and get back my power and not let anyone take it from me. And things started to change. Then unfortunately I became a little bit of a bully, but I knew when to step away because I didn't really want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But, in actuality, I always used to think I had to help fix somebody, but we
Yeah.
don't have to fix anyone and we
No.
don't have to carry anyone. And the moment that you choose yourself and, and choose to love yourself and trust yourself and honor yourself, that's when, your entire life begins to shift, and the healing begins when you decide that your energy is sacred and you need to take control of you and worry about you because this is the only temple that we have to live in. You got to take care of it.
And the moral of the story is kids can be cruel.
Kids could be very cruel, but your
Damn.
mom could be crueler.
You're crueler.
I was deadly afraid of this little 5'2" redhead. I knew if she was gonna come at me, there was no escaping. So at least with them, I knew I could escape. With her, I couldn't. So
It's
I made the choice to
interesting.
finally hit back, and
Yeah.
not take it no more, you know.
And
And it was sort of like my superpower, you could say,
that's what I was going to
I
say. It's
yeah,
your superpower. And isn't it interesting too, the things that we're criticized for when we're kids is our superpower.
yes.
Because I was told by my dad, he used to say, God damn it, Christine, you're too goddamn sensitive. You're too sensitive. And in my
Yes.
head, I was like, I was like, wait a second. How can you be too sensitive? Because I wasn't really a crybaby, but I was like, what does too sensitive mean?
Hmm.
And in my work as a coach, I find that I am sensitive to my clients, to where they're at,
Yeah.
to the experience that they've had. If they're stressed out, if they're overwhelmed, if they have a scarcity mindset or they're desperate, right? A lot of times people come to me and they're desperate. They I have no sales, I have no clients, I don't know what to do. So they're in a panic mode. And so I
Mhm.
have to have that empathy and that sensitivity to know where they're at and to say, I know what it feels like, but to talk to them and to communicate with them and guide them in a way, in a safe way, right?
Exactly. And
So,
that's what I have,
yeah,
from everything I've been through. And I think it just gives us, the ability to have that strength and clarity and be able to it shapes us knowing that, we do have that light within us, but other people has the same light. We just need to just like bring it out the way you did to me like
yeah,
this.
come on.
Yeah. Come on, you can do it, Barbara. You can do it.
Well, it was so much fun too. I mean, my goodness, I have so
It
much
was.
fun
It
being with you.
was.
So,
It,
why don't you tell if you don't mind, tell the listeners a bit about where you're at right now. I know that you've got a website people can go to, but what's on the platform for Barbara Savin? What you're doing? What are you doing right now?
well, I'm 77, so I'm saying to myself, is it time to retire? But I keep on hearing, no, no, you have many more years to go. Keep it up. So for next year, I've made the choice to do some workshops on developing your intuition, talking about another one on crystals, people that drain your energy.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
and probably to write another book. So, and of course, still have my clients and of course the podcast, the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. But I also added Beyond Ordinary to it because I feel we are just not, we're not, no one is ordinary. Everybody's beyond ordinary. We just need to see it and trust
yeah,
it and feel it and know it. So that's why I put those two words into the podcast. And I'll be doing some of the podcasts by myself just to give my own whatever is in my head for all these years, all the wisdom,
yeah,
to finally, get it out with just me doing it, but to still have guests though, because I enjoy having people on the show. So yeah, there's a few things down the pipeline and still doing my newsletters, my clients, but I want to get more into the workshop because that's really where I need to be. And I keep on hearing, the spirit telling me you need to get get into teaching people energy healing and other things that not to keep it to myself. And I've done that many years ago and then I got away from it, but it's time now to get back into it.
and I'll help you set that up too with your webinars and workshops and things.
I'm going to need you to help me with
It's easy
that.
peasy. We'll get you sorted with that.
Mhm.
I think that's great. And yes, I think a book is definitely coming. And you've got it. I mean, it's already written, right? It's already written. It's just putting it
Well,
together.
it's written in my head. I mean, I have three books. I have, Gentle Energy Touch book, which is now being redone with another publisher. And then, of course, the affirmations, Awaken Your Best Self with Affirmations.
Yeah.
And then the third book was Help Me, I'm Not Crazy. They are. I survive challenging people. And I'm grateful for my clients for that title because they would come in and say, Help me. I don't think I'm crazy, but all these people around me are. And that's why I ended up with that title. So the fourth book, I'm not sure yet. It may be all about tapping into your intuitive abilities because we all are intuitive individuals. We are spiritual beings in a physical body, in this human body. So it's important for us to understand that we need to be more mindful, more aware, be able to see, hear, feel, use all of the senses because
Yeah.
they're there for us. We just need to tap into them. And
Yeah.
it's really not hard. All you need to do is listen.
Well, and listen to Barbara Safin maybe from time to time as well. You
That would
know.
help me a little bit.
Oh, Barbara, it's been absolutely just a pleasure being with you. Anytime I get to be with you is lovely. And for people who want to find out about the work that you do and get access to your podcast and your future webinars and workshops, where's the best place for them to go?
My website, barbarasavin.com. And the Spiritual Warrior Coach is on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon. It's on all the channels. And I also put it on my Facebook page, Barbara Savin, and it's on my website too. So yeah, take a look.
All
There's a
right.
lot of good information, and I'm very grateful that this is the path that I came down into this earth to choose.
I am glad too. And so many people that you touch are also super happy that you're here, sharing your passion for wanting to help people and to heal as many people as possible. So thank you so much. I want to thank you, wonderful listeners, also for tuning in today. If you got something out of the show, if it gave you some goosebumps and made you feel good, make sure you like, share, comment if you like on the YouTubes that we have. And if you want to find out more information about this podcast or about anything that we've been talking about today that I work on, you can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. I'll have a link in the show notes, and I'll also have links to what Barbara was talking about, her website, also her podcast. I'll have that in the show notes as well. So you can just click on there and go visit, and make sure that if you do connect with her, if you do contact her, to maybe even book a session, because she can do this via Zoom. She can do sessions via Zoom. Make sure you say that you heard about her from the podcast. That would be great. It gives us feedback. All right, darling. Thank you again, Barbara. I love you. I love you. Love you. Thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers. And until next time, remember, every day you can be working on your expert authority just by doing the things that you're passionate about. All right. Take care now.